We ring our peace bowl to affirm our collective hope for peace in the world, especially in the times we're going through right now. We also acknowledge that these lands that we love are the unceded, ancestral, and historical lands of the Yavapai. We breathe in love. We breathe out peace. Good morning, everybody. Not quite as cold as earlier this week. Hoorah. I'm Karen Hagberg. I'm your worship associate today. Just a quick reminder that you remember to turn off your phone and devices. And also that if you need a gray hymnal, they're found in the back of the sanctuary. And this morning, Reverend Michelle is going to explore UU theology, and she asks, is there really such a thing? And at this time, please enjoy our gathering music.
Good morning, everyone. I'm the Reverend Michelle LaGrave, she, her, and I am the minister here at Granite Peak Unitarian Universalist Congregation. Today I am wearing a clerical collar that is not my usual garb, but I think many of you have already heard that there will be a no ice protest down near the courthouse today. So I am dressed appropriately. Marianne also wanted me to let you know that there are signs, if you need them, in Davis Hall, if you want to pick some up before you head down. The protest is scheduled for noon, so for those of you who are going, maybe grab a quick bite to eat so you have some nourishment in you, and then head on out. If you are visiting with us today or still kind of newish, I want to send out a very extra special and warm welcome to you today. We are glad that you are here. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you find yourself on your life's journey, however many times you have broken your vows, whatever your abilities or disabilities, whether you've walked in or rolled in or zoomed in, whichever your pronouns and whomever you love, you are welcome here, you belong here.
We begin our service in the Unitarian Universalist tradition of lighting our chalice, which is a symbol of our heritage. Our chalice lighter this morning is Diane Harper. We light this chalice to remind us that we come from many places, bringing different truths. We are a people taught by different stories with many voices, and yet we come together as one people, working for a world where love creates justice and justice gives birth to peace.
Every little thing that breaks your heart is welcome here. We'll make a space for it, give it its due time and praise for the wanting it represents, the longing for something more, some healing hope that remains not yet. We promise no magic, no making it all better, but offer only this circle of trust, this human community that remembers, though imperfectly, that sings and prays, though sometimes awkwardly. This gathering that loves, though not yet enough. We're still practicing, after all, still learning, still in need of help and partners, still becoming able to receive all this beauty and all these gifts we each bring. Come, let us worship together. This morning, I'm going to invite you not only to rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, which is 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are, but also to really allow yourself to sink deeply into the singing. We're going to sing it 5 times. Once you've got the words in your head, if you want to go ahead and close your eyes, I would invite you to do that and allow the sensations of the singing, of hearing, not only hearing everyone's words, but feeling the vibrations and the energy in the room into your body. And you'll find out a little later why I am inviting you to do that. Let's rise.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come.
And now we will hear from our beloved Lena Hubin for our stewardship moment this morning. It's coming.
Stewardship. My husband Russ Dixon and I found that after moving here in 1999. Back from our last overseas teaching country, I brought water for Ganges, the film canister, and our first Sunday service happened to be that we joined the Waters Communion. It was perfect. We were welcomed immediately with our two young brown kids by about 30 congregants under the disco ball at the old adult center, and quickly became very friends. Back then, my teacher, Fred Melvin Patterson, was in charge of Granite Peak Arts. When I told her I could play piano, she invited me to do services, and I felt fortunate to play regularly here ever since. The adult center was light and bright, and the sound was great. But membership grew, and we were all thrilled to move to this bigger space of our own. But it wasn't long before I began longing for a more sacred feeling space with better sound and light, where I could hear the hymns being sung as I played them. Over 20-some years, I was part of several teams that gathered in folk and communities to conference about uplifting this sanctuary. And voila, behold the miracle. It took a lot of cooperation and contributions to accomplish this feat and to keep this place operating through all construction. I am so grateful to Granite Peak for providing the perfect avenue for my passions. Besides my piano playing, this congregation allows and fosters social justice. Whereby I can perform actions that support people different and less privileged than I. Russ is likewise in this year, constantly finding himself in positions at Granite Peak which are outlets for his organizational, financial, and media needs. Due to these meaningful activities, and all you congregants out there who have become great friends, we've been sustaining contributors throughout our time. It has taken all of us, you and me, contributing our time, talents, and yes, money to keep us growing. My name is Thea. Besides my piano playing, Russ is likewise in this year, constantly finding himself in positions at Granite Peak which are outlets for his organizational, financial, and media needs. Due to these meaningful activities, and all you congregants out there who have become great friends, we've been sustaining contributors throughout our time. It has taken all of us, you and me, contributing our time, talents, and yes, money to keep us growing and flourishing. If this institution is the priority in your lives, then it is in ours. Please pledge as generously as you can to sustain Granite Peak's. Thank you all for your support.
For our time for all ages, I would like to invite any of our younger folks or youth, or even those of you who are simply young at heart, to come on up here with me. You could sit on the floor if you'd like. The story is actually going to be on the screen, so don't sit too close, but come on up. All right. Gonna be able to see okay from there? Okay. So today's story is actually about a young adult, which means that he's grown up, but still kind of new at being an adult, adulting, still figuring it out. But no matter how old we are, we all need help figuring out how to live our lives sometimes. So, like I said, the story is going to show up on the screens while I read it. It's not a regular kind of book, but it is one that is made up with creatable world dolls, which are actually genderqueer dolls. Maybe you didn't know that such a thing exists, but they do, and they are right up here with us, at least 2 of them. There's about 8. So here we go. Once upon a time, in a magical space called Davis Hall, 2 Unitarian Universalists sat down together. They had just come out of the worship service. Reverend Michelle had been preaching about Affect Theology. "Hey, Lucas, how are you? You look like you might be feeling a little down," said Sheldon. "Well, I guess I kind of am," said Lucas. "That sermon got me thinking about my job, and I'm realizing how unhappy I am with my career." "What do you do?" said Sheldon. "I sell really fancy cars, like this one. I want to help people, and I like seeing how happy they are when they drive away in their new car. But I don't love what I do in the same way that other salespeople do. They get really excited talking about engine specs and trim packages, even when they're on break. They wave their arms around a lot when they're talking about cars. One of them accidentally smacked me in the face the other day because she was so excited about the new car model that just arrived on the lot, and she didn't even notice I was standing next to her. But I just get so stressed out with the pressure to sell. I can feel my heart pounding in my chest and my stomach doing flip-flops. I think I might need a new career." Said Sheldon. "That might be a good thing to think about. It sounds like even though you want to help people in a fun way, your job is just stressing you out a bit too much." Thanks for listening, Sheldon. I'm going to think about it some more. You're a great friend, and I am so glad we met here. Me too, Lucas. A few weeks later, the 2 friends met up once again after worship, this time in the sanctuary. "Hey, Lucas, how's it going?" said Sheldon. "Well, a little better, I guess. I left my job selling cars, and now I'm trying to sell houses. I have a friend, Tanisha, who is a great realtor. Their whole face lights up with excitement when they talk about their career. I thought that selling houses would be fun. Plus, I thought it would feel good to help people find their home sweet home." "But it's not working out that way," said Sheldon. "No, I've been job shadowing Tanisha. They still love what they do, but I'm just finding it all kind of odd. Some of these houses just creep me out. I can feel shivers going down my spine, and I get goosebumps on my arms." So does this house remind any of you of anything? Darth Vader. It's the Darth Vader house from Star Wars, and yes, it is a real house that exists in Houston, Texas. It was up for sale a while back, and there was a short little rumor that 50 Cent was going to buy it, but unfortunately he did not. Said Sheldon. I know helping others is important to you, but maybe it's not people you're meant to help. What do you mean? Said Lucas. I notice that you're wearing a shirt with dogs all over it. You seem to wear that one a lot. And I noticed you only eat the vegetarian dishes at the church potlucks. Plus, you got really excited when that tiger, India, was on the loose in Houston. Also a true story. You said something about wishing you could volunteer at that animal sanctuary he went to. I know you love animals a lot. Maybe you could think about helping animals instead of people? Thanks, Sheldon. I will do some thinking on that. You're the best. And so Lucas did just that. He went home and he thought about all that Sheldon said and about how much he loves animals and how much he loves being helpful, and he made a decision. Lucas went back to school and became a vet tech. Now he works with and helps the animals he loves every day, as well as their human parents. Here's a slide, a photo of Lucas examining a cat with a stethoscope, and there in the background is a big photo, a real photo of India, the tiger. A couple of months later, the 2 friends met up once again, this time at a pool party at Sheldon's house. We need to get him in on the stewardship campaign. Lucas, I can't believe how much happier and more relaxed you look these days, said Sheldon. Yes, I am, said Sheldon, said Lucas. That's in part thanks to you. I love my new career. I'm eager to go to work each morning and find out what the day will bring, and I feel so fulfilled at the end of my day. I really appreciate all the listening you did and the way you helped me put things together in a deeper way. You really are a great friend. So, how are things with you, Sheldon? So today, as you leave and head out to your classes, I invite you to think a little bit more about how your friends might help you make decisions about what to do next in your life, or how you can help them about decisions that they're facing, about choices they need to make in the way they live their lives. So here, our tradition is for the people in the center aisle to make a bridge, and then our young folks, while we sing, can head out under the bridge. I know. They're getting a little tall for the bridge, aren't they? Let's join together in saying the words of our covenant. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community, thus do we covenant together.
And now, as we prepare to receive the offering this morning, let us embrace the feeling of connection and community that we all feel when we're here each week. Let us remember that this congregation and its programs are supported by your generosity. And we also give back to the greater community through our Seeds of Support program. This month's recipient is Habitat for Humanity. There's information in your order service if you'd like to read about it. And each Sunday, half the plate offering, as well as checks designated with Seeds of Support, will be given to the monthly recipient. And if you'd like to contribute online, please visit our website at prescottuu.org. The ushers will now collect the offering. We acknowledge the generosity of spirit expressed through this offering. What is given in love is received in gratitude. Amen, so may it be.
I'd like to invite you to find a comfortable place in your seat. Place your feet flat on the floor if you can and if you will, so that you might feel connected to the earth which nourishes and sustains us all. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so, and take a deep breath in. As today we enter into a time of silence or quiet, let us breathe together. In and out. Out and in. Amen, and blessed be.
Beloved community is at the heart of Granite Peak UU congregation. And now we will share in our ritual of joys and concerns. If you have a personal joy, concern, or sorrow, you're invited to come forward, drop a pebble in one of the bowls on our communal water. At this time, we hold in our hearts Jim Robinson, who was hospitalized earlier this week, and Stephanie and Brian Willison, who are with Stephanie's father in Tucson as he has entered hospice. And we have a joy because Dixie King is here. Yay. So I will drop a pebble for these and also for those sorrows that are privately held and not shared today. May the ripples of this water represent our connection to one another. Please come forward. Spirit of life, whom we know best in our own loving and being loved, Embrace us as we hold these concerns and sorrows in our hearts, and rejoice as we celebrate with gratitude our joys. May our tears lubricate our souls. May our gratitude sparkle in our lives, and may our love shine throughout our days. So may it be. Now please join me as we sing Spirit in Life.
Our reading this morning comes from Dr. Thea Nur-Amin. When I used to work with Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism, BLUE, doing workshops or meeting people in UU congregations, inevitably, a well-meaning white person would ask, "Who's the Black Emerson?" or "Who's the Black Thoreau?" This question is wrong, icky for so many reasons. One of the tenets of white supremacy culture is the prioritization of the written word, and not understanding that if you want to discover the evidence of Unitarianism, Universalism, or Unitarian Universalism in the lives of Black folks, it's not always in written essays, because historically we've had different trajectories, different levels of care and resources and access that would enable us to create something like that. If you're seeking sacred Black text in our traditions, you have to examine the way our Black ancestors lived. You have to seek out the Black folks who were in Unitarian and Universalist or UU congregations and the work that they were doing in community, whether it was suffrage or trying to educate Black children, or they're working towards social action or civil access. Our text is embodied in the lives of people like Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, Joseph Jordan, David Eaton, and countless others. One of the things that I love about this tradition is that our faith is covenantal and not confessional, meaning that to some degree our tradition cares little about what you stand up and say you believe. The evidence of your Unitarian Universalism is embodied in the depth of your relationships. How do you live in relationship to self and other? I don't just mean human other, to the plants, to the animals, to the stars. The proof is in the pudding for UUs. It's not about what you have to say. How are you living? Here ends the reading. The words washed over me like the first drizzle on a parched land. Though you have broken your vows 1,000 times, though you have broken your vows 1,000 times, though you have broken your vows 1,000 times. The rhythmic repetition of the congregation singing in unison began to settle into my body and nourish a place in my spirit I hadn't known was thirsty. The verse continued, washing in and out like the tide, while other voices sang from above. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of the evening, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. And though you have broken your vows 1,000 times, come, yet again come. A sense of sweetness settled upon my heart, and I allowed the words to soothe me. I was sitting in a pew in the UU Church of Worcester, Massachusetts, celebrating the soulful sundown service. The minister, the Reverend Aaron Payson, had invited us to join in singing the missing line from Rumi's poem, the one which does not appear in our hymnal. I think I understand why Rumi's verse about breaking vows does not show up in our hymnal. It has to do with the tendency of Unitarian Universalism as a whole to avoid all things relating to sin, confession, and forgiveness. Sometimes to our own detriment. Many and most of us have arrived at Unitarian Universalism after coming out of another religious tradition. And all too often, we arrive here having suffered spiritual harm from a theological language of sin, confession, and forgiveness that was used to incite feelings of guilt or shame. For all people, but especially for us queer folks. And so, all too often, we arrive here wanting to just totally avoid these theological terms. Yet this self-protective action can also come at a price. We can close ourselves down, refuse to hear or try to understand what scares us, and so reject the good and beneficial which may be mixed in and amongst the harmful. There's a saying for that, throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So while we tend to avoid topics like confession or brokenness or guilt or forgiveness, sometimes though, I think we get it right. The worship leaders at the soulful sundown service I went to that time got it right. I needed to hear that message that night. I have broken my vows 1,000 times, as I surely have done. I still must come. I still must approach. I still must join with. I still must return over and over again. Theirs was a message proclaiming that I belong here, in that faith community, in this faith community, even in my brokenness, even in my imperfection. Theirs was a message promising that I will be seen here in this, my beloved Unitarian Universalist faith tradition, for all of who I am, even the less than perfect parts, and that I will be accepted, not in spite of, but because of my imperfections. Theirs was a message of hope, acceptance, and strength, not one of guilt or shame. And this is a message we all need to hear. So I'll repeat it in slightly different words. To truly and completely affirm ourselves and each other, we must accept those feelings of brokenness. We must accept that there are parts of ourselves and each other that feel out of alignment with who we understand ourselves to be and who we hope to become. We must begin by accepting our imperfection. Only from there will we be able to seek wholeness in any truly meaningful way. Which brings me to UU theology and an introduction of Thandeka. I first met the Reverend Dr. Thandeka on Star Island. That's it up on the slide there. It is a UUA UCC camp and conference center off the coast of New Hampshire. And it was just about 20 years ago when I met her. Time flies. She was then a professor at one of our UU seminaries, Meadville Lombard Theological School, where Lisa attends. Yay, Lisa. And she is a Unitarian Universalist theologian. She is also married to, that's her in the middle, with my friend on the other side. She is also married to another UU minister, Naomi King. So that's a photo of me standing with her at Star Island. Morning after morning, just after breakfast, for an entire week, I listened to Thandeka lecture on a system of thought she termed affect theology. She traced its evolution from Friedrich Schleiermacher through George de Benneville and William Ellery Channing, and up to her own refined application to contemporary Unitarian Universalism. Affect theology is an incredibly complex system of thought based on neurobiology, psychology, child development, anthropology, and theology. It is also an umbrella theology, a single theology that has the inherent ability to overarch or encompass all of our individual theologies and philosophies of life. Yes, all of them. Whether you consider yourself to be a UU humanist, a UU Jew, a UU Buddhist, a UU Christian, a UU atheist, a UU pagan, or a plain old UU, there is a home for you within the umbrella of affect theology. It is a theology to which we all belong. In hearing Thandeka speak over the course of that week, I was both fascinated intellectually and unsettled emotionally. Somehow I felt like my body knew the truth of her words in a way that I could not articulate. Her words sounded vaguely familiar. They almost taunted me. So, ever the researcher I am, once I returned from the island, I decided to compare what I had learned about affect theology to my very own recently written credo statement. It was with that reading and in that moment that I became a believer. I became a believer. Words we don't often say in Unitarian Universalist contexts, and here we are. And ever since, affect theology has been formational in the way that I think theologically, in the way that I grow spiritually, and in the ways that I teach and minister. So, what is affect theology and how does it work? As we prepare to explore the 4 components of affect theology, let's imagine ourselves embarking on a journey on which we search together for truth and meaning, a journey on which we encourage one another to spiritual growth, a journey toward belonging, a journey toward wholeness, a journey that lasts our whole life long through. We begin this journey in the base of our brains. This is where our brains receive both external and internal sensory input. Next slide. We see, hear, taste, smell, and touch. Here we begin to be aware that our hearts are racing, that our bodies are feeling pain, that our skin is sweating, that our muscles are relaxing. To hearken back to my soulful sundown experience, I heard the music, a familiar melody with a new descant weaving in and out of the notes well loved. I felt the vibrations of dozens of others singing along with me. I saw all the candles lit and flickering in a darkened and beautiful sanctuary. Our bodily experiences are foundational in the way that we understand and live out our faith lives. Affect theology is an embodied theology. And here, I would like you to think about the meaning that all of you who were here a year ago or longer, put into redoing this sanctuary. What did this sanctuary, this sacred space, mean to you before versus after? Why did you go through all of that? That is all about your physical sensations, what you're seeing and hearing and experiencing in your new space. It's important. We put a lot of money into it. Next, and second on our journey, we move a bit farther up in our brain stems to where our emotional responses occur. First, we experience sensory input within our bodies. Now we experience emotions which we feel about these same sensory experiences. I felt emotions about my worship experience, not all of which were nameable, but include feelings of comfort, relief, nourishment, reassurance, and gratitude. I imagine all of you feel emotions being in this newly redone space. I didn't see the old space or experience the old space, but I did do this one, and I love it. Next, and third on our journey, we move even farther up our brains into our neocortex, the most recently evolved portion of our brains, the center of our thinking, reasoning, and logic. Here it is that we think about our bodily sensory experiences and the emotions we have felt about those experiences. Here it is that we do the work of reflection and meaning making. I made sense of and came to an intellectual understanding of my soulful sundown worship experience by thinking through that experience. I thought about the contrast between Unitarian Universalism and Sufism in the importance each religion places on making and keeping vows, and what it might mean to break those same vows. I thought about the making, keeping, and breaking of vows and how it might relate to traditional Jewish and Christian theological concepts of sin, confession, and forgiveness. And I thought about the relative lack of those same traditional theological concepts within Unitarian Universalism and what that might mean for us as a faith tradition. Finally, with the next and fourth step on our journey, we move to the last component of affect theology, which is our actions. That is to say, we have sensory experiences, emotions that we feel about those experiences, thoughts that we think about what we experience and feel, and actions which we undertake as we interact with the world, as we live our lives. I act by admitting my mistakes, apologizing, asking for forgiveness, and changing my future behavior. I act by writing and delivering this sermon. Sensory input, emotions, thoughts, actions. Yes, we're geeking out today. I know my normal style is a little simpler, but it's always good to geek out once in a while. According to Thandeka, it is only when these four components, sensory input, next slide, I think. Sensory input, emotions, thoughts, and actions are in alignment. It is only then that we feel whole, that we feel fulfilled. When these four components of our lives are out of alignment, when our thoughts don't match our actions and our feelings don't match our thoughts, we feel broken, disaffected, fragmented, or disembodied. Affect theology is a path to leading a life of healing and wholeness and fulfillment, a journey which we can all choose to take, regardless of our individual belief systems. In some ways, it's simple to understand. Sensory input, emotions, thoughts, actions. All in alignment. But it's not actually easy to do. And it never will be fully or finally accomplished by any one of us. And so it is that I believe in being fully present to those who I am with. Yet sometimes I find myself becoming impatient or lost in thought. And so it is that I believe making careful, considered, and ethical choices when shopping, Yet I sometimes find myself choosing the easiest or least expensive option rather than the most ethical one. For each piece we snap into place, there are more to be sorted as we continually put together the puzzle that we call life and journey onward. That is why we need each other. To support, to help sort the puzzle pieces, to support and encourage one another, to call each other back into alignment, just as Lucas's friend Sheldon did for him, and as Lucas will do for Sheldon. So take note. This is important. That means that I ask you to call me back into alignment with myself. That's the beauty, the absolute beauty at the center of this theology, of Thandeka's theology. I ask you, my atheist friend, to call me back into alignment with my panentheistic self. And you ask your Christian friend to call you back into alignment with your pagan self. No one's individual theology or philosophy of life need threaten or take away from anyone else's. The survival, knowing this, the survival of our pluralistic faith tradition depends on this. No one's theology or philosophy of life need threaten anyone else's. We're all here, we all belong. What we all need is each other. What we need is a faith community to which we can belong. In other words, as individuals incorporating affect theology into our understanding of ourselves as a whole or even holy beings is certainly, adequate for living a moral and ethical life. We can use this system of thought to see a way toward becoming more ethically consistent in the totality of our individual being. We can use the system of thought in a spiritual practice of self-examination and self-culture. But the concept of working on ourselves by ourselves is no longer enough. It never really was. We are intimately connected on the interdependent web of life. We can only truly understand ourselves in relationship to other people. A change in any one of us is felt by all. We are all one. I'll say a little bit more about this using Thandeka's own words, partly because it'll give you a glimpse into how complex her thinking is. In writing about a need for a language of reverence, she defines the symbol of salvation within the context of affect theology this way. Human salvation is thus a corporate affair. We were not conceived, born, or individuated alone. If others did not exist, including the wider world of nature and the universe, we would not be here. We could not be here. A basic ecobiological law of nature is that organisms cannot flourish without an environment that nurtures, sustains, and enhances their developmental continuity through life-affirming relationships. Our human affections are thus deeply private and utterly social. We feel the world upon us and within us. The world stirs our affections. We are a pulse of its life. That's the end of the quote. We Unitarian Universalists have covenanted together as congregations in relationship to other congregations of Unitarian Universalists to encourage and support one another in our mutual quests for spiritual growth, as we each engage in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We are a pluralistic faith. That is one of our shared values. And so when the search for truth and meaning becomes difficult, when we find ourselves living too much in our heads or too much in our hearts, we can remind each other of the need for balance, our need for alignment. Body, heart, mind, will, spirit, all are essential on our path to healing and wholeness. After all, we are all disaffected, disembodied, or broken in some way. This is the natural order of life and the result of our all too human experiences. If we were not, we would be inhumanly perfect, and no one is. Think about the basic concept of evolution. Change occurs from genetic mutations, right? From mistakes that are made in the copying of our DNA. We are inherently imperfect and broken, or we never would have become human. Thandeka reminds us, we were not broken alone, and we cannot heal alone. It takes a religious community to heal a broken soul. We need each other. As Unitarian Universalists, we have long struggled in finding a foundation for liberal theology. Louis B. Fisher said back in 1921, Universalists are often asked to tell where they stand. The only true answer to this is that we do not stand at all. We move. This captures something quintessentially true about liberal theology, that our theology lives and grows and changes. Our theology is constantly in the process of becoming. Thandeka demonstrates that with affect theology, our search for foundation may be over. The foundation of affect theology actually rests outside of theology and within the field of science. Human experience is understood through the lens of neurobiology. As people of a liberal faith, we were and are not likely to ever plant our feet in a cement-like faith. But here, we can find a place to rest, a place to find the ground beneath our bodies, a place to stop our seemingly endless wandering. Here, within the warm embrace of affect theology, we can move forward together with purpose as we join with each other on a lifelong journey of becoming and of belonging. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be. Now, let us rise either in body or spirit for hymn number 298, Wake Now My Senses. And yes, the verses on the slides, come on up, Russ. The verses on the slide are out of order. Russ didn't know this ahead of time, sorry, Russ. So that we can go in the same order as affect theology, right? So that the feelings come before the thoughts. That's what we're doing. All right? Okay.
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow, giving, receiving, as love shows us how. Wake now my reason, reach out to the new. I lost my voice. Leaving a sky. As knows how. Giving since striving our hardship to end. Wake now my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now my conscience, then justice thy guide. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged place. God's love embraces the whole human race. Wake now my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Working to blend it, transformed by our care.
Please join together in the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
There is a promise inherent within affect theology that we might one day come more fully into our own. A promise reflected in this poem by Derek Walcott. A promise that life itself is indeed poetry. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, "Sit here, eat." May it be so. Amen, and blessed be.